Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Mufsat A. Ali. I am a teacher to the student at Jahan School, Lahore campus. Today we talk about how to deal with criticism and use it for self-improvement. Criticism is a part of life and everyone experiences it at some point. While criticism can sometimes feel uncomfortable and discouraging, it can also be a valuable tool for personal growth and self improvement. Learning how to accept feedback with an open mind helps us identify our strengths, recognize areas for improvement, and becomes better version of ourselves. Okay, so let's start with ChatGPT. Hi ChatGPT.
Hey, I'm here and ready to help. What's on your mind today?
We talk about today how to deal with criticism and use it for self improvement.
Absolutely. That's such a powerful topic. Criticism can be tough to hear, but if we approach it with the right mindset, it can really fuel growth. What kind of criticism or situations are you thinking about? Personal, professional, or something else?
Why do people find criticism difficult to accept?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of it boils down to how we perceive it. Like it can feel really personal, even if it's not meant that way. And sometimes it triggers a fear of failure or just a blow to our confidence. But with practice, we can get better at seeing it for what it is, just a tool for learning.
What is the difference between constructive and destructive criticism?
Ah, great point. So, constructive criticism is specific, actionable, and usually focused on helping you improve. It's often delivered with care and a clear goal in mind. Destructive criticism, on the other hand, is vague, harsh, and usually just points out flaws without offering a way forward. It can be really discouraging.
Okay. How can criticism help us grow?
Yeah, absolutely. When we let ourselves engage with criticism, it shows us blind spots we might not have noticed, and it pushes us out of our comfort zone. Over time, it helps us refine our skills, become more self aware, and build real confidence because we see ourselves getting better.
Why is it important to stay calm when receiving criticism?
Staying calm is really crucial because if we react emotionally, we might shut down or miss the opportunity to really listen. When we stay calm, we can reflect on the feedback, separate it from our emotions, and use it constructively. Plus, it shows maturity and keeps the conversation productive.
How can we separate emotions from feedback?
Yeah, so one way is to pause before you respond. Take a deep breath, remind yourself that the feedback is about your work or behavior, not your worth. You can also reframe the comments, like thinking of them as data points, not personal attacks. And it helps to ask clarifying questions just to get a clearer picture of what's being said.
What should we do before responding to criticism?
I think it's really helpful to ground yourself in a growth mindset. Understood from their feedback, ask for clarification if needed, and share a small step you plan to take. That way you keep it professional, open, and future focused.
How can active listening improve our understanding of feedback?
Yeah, active listening is a game changer. When you really focus on what the other person is saying without immediately jumping in or planning your response, you understand the details and the emotions behind them. You can summarize what you heard, ask follow up questions, and that shows you're really committed to getting better and not just defensive.
Why is self awareness important when dealing with criticism?
Oh, absolutely. Self awareness is key because it helps you recognize what triggers your emotions and how you naturally respond. When you're self aware, you can choose a more intentional reaction, which makes you more open to growth and less defensive.
How can criticism improve our communication skills?
That's a great point. When we engage with criticism thoughtfully, it actually makes us better communicators. We learn to articulate our thoughts more clearly, respond with empathy, and ask better questions. Over time, that builds trust and stronger, more productive conversations.
How can criticism improve our communication skills?
That's a great point. When we engage with criticism thoughtfully, it actually makes us better communicators. We learn to express ourselves more clearly, we listen more actively, and we respond with more empathy. Over time, it builds trust and leads to deeper, more meaningful conversations.
What role does humanity play in accepting criticism?
Yeah, so I think a big part is staying curious and open. You can show genuine interest by asking for examples or elaboration, and make sure you express that you're grateful for the insight. Also, take a moment to reflect before responding, and so you can reply in a way that's thoughtful and measured.
Okay, how can we identify useful feedback?
Yeah, so useful feedback usually has some key characteristics. It's specific, it's actionable, and it's tied to a clear goal. You can ask yourself, does this feedback point me toward a specific improvement? Is it something I can actually implement? And does it align with my bigger goals? If so, it's probably worth paying attention to.
What should we do with unfair criticism?
Yeah, that's a bit trickier. I think the key is to stay calm and not derail your confidence or progress.
Okay, how can criticism help us achieve our goals?
Yeah, definitely. So when we use criticism constructively, it highlights areas where we can improve. So we can make targeted changes. It keeps us accountable, helps us measure progress, and ultimately it pushes us closer to our goals because we're constantly fine tuning and growing.
Why is it important not to take criticism personally?
Yeah, that's really important because if we take it personally, it can derail us emotionally. It might make us defensive or we might stop trying. But when we detach our sense of self from the feedback, we can stay objective and use it to get better without it damaging our confidence.
How can criticism improve workplace performance?
Oh, absolutely. When we get clear, actionable feedback, it helps us identify where we can sharpen our skills, improve efficiency, and better align with team goals. Over time, it just raises the overall performance of the whole team, making everyone more effective.
How can students benefit from constructive criticism?
Yeah, for students, constructive criticism is really a superpower. It helps them understand exactly what they need to work on so they can adjust their approach, deepen their understanding, and build confidence as they see their progress.
What are some examples of positive responses to criticism?
Yeah, sure. You might say something like, "Thank you for the feedback. That's really helpful. I hadn't thought of it that way." Or, "I appreciate you pointing that out. I'll work on that and check in again." Even just saying, "This gives me a clear direction. Thank you," keeps it positive and forward looking.
How can criticism strengthen relationships?
Yeah, it can really build trust. When people see that you handle feedback with openness and a desire to grow, it shows you value the input. That kind of respect and openness makes interactions more collaborative. So
Okay. What mistakes should we avoid when criticized?
yeah, so definitely avoid being defensive or dismissive. Try not to blame others or get too emotional, and also steer away from vague general statements. Keep it specific and focus on the behavior of the work, not the person.
How can leaders use criticisms to improve themselves?
Yeah, that's a great strategy. Leaders can use criticism by reflecting on it to see if there are patterns or blind spots they weren't aware of. They can model a growth mindset by sharing how they're acting on the feedback, and by improving, they set an example, inspiring their team to do the same.
What can we learn from people who handle criticism well?
Got cut off there. But yeah, from people who handle criticism well, we can learn a few things, like staying composed, listening actively, and using feedback as a tool, not a threat. They also tend to ask for clarification and take a balanced, practical approach, which helps them grow.
What is one lesson you learn from receiving criticism?
Yeah, absolutely. One big lesson is that feedback is a tool for growth, not a verdict on your worth. It teaches resilience, you learn to handle setbacks with grace, and it helps you fine tune your skills so that over time you can perform at a higher level.
Okay, thanks, ChatGPT. Thank you. Meaningful discussion. Remember, criticism is not always a sign of failure, it is often an opportunity to learn, grow, and improve. When we embrace feedback with a positive attitude, we develop resilience, confidence, and wisdom. May we continue to learn from every experience, value constructive feedback, and use it to become the best version of ourselves. Thank you and keep growing. every day. Thanks.